The market shift that comes with the school year start is here. It is time for your August Denver housing market update. Hey everybody, it's Alyson Wahl with Live South Denver, your real estate strategist and realtor for the South Denver area. Yep, the market is shifting again. It is part seasonal and part economic, so let's jump right into the numbers. Buyers put 400 fewer homes under contract in July than the month before. So just 3,800 homes went under contract last month. That's a decrease of 8% from the previous month, but just down 0.3% from the year before. We did see 3,600 closings in July. That is also down 400 from the previous month and a 12% decrease. That puts us down 14% versus this time last year, and we are on pace to close about 40,000 homes this year. We are down from 60,000 homes closed in 2021, which is the highest amount ever sold in a single year. 40,000 is pretty low. We tend to average somewhere in the 50,000 range. So we are certainly having a slower year this year. Obviously, rates play a big part in that. We had 4,500 new listings in July, 600 fewer than the month before. This is not the first drop in inventory we've had since the beginning of the year. It's just the first drop we've had since about April. So we had an increase for 4 months in a row, and now we've had this very substantial drop in inventory. So we are down 12% from the previous month, and we're down 24% from a year ago. Now, even with that decrease in new listings, inventory month over month has gone up. We ended July with 6,000 properties available for sale. That's 700 more than we had when we ended the previous month. That means we had fewer buyers out taking up the available inventory as it hit the market. So we finished out the month with roughly 1.7 months of available inventory. That's quite high for us. Even over these slowing months, we have not hit that number in quite a long time. Now, with this much inventory, it's probably not going to be a surprise that we have seen median days on market increase. The median days went up by 2 days. It is now 9 median days on market. For July, it was 7 the month before. Surprisingly, average days on market did not change month over month. That stayed the same at 23 days. All right, on to those July home prices. We're always excited to hear about those. Now, I do want to say, I did not do a video the previous month. Those of you who are consistent religious watchers of the market updates probably noticed that. It really had to do with the fact that our family takes vacation every summer. Yes, we do. And by the time the data came out, which was late thanks to 4th of July, overlapping with our vacation, the data wouldn't have been relevant. It would have hit very, very late in the month. And so it would have been just a couple weeks ago, you would have gotten the data out to you. So I just skipped that month. I have taken all that data, made sure I'm updated. So everything I talk about in this video is taking last month's data into account, including when we're comparing prices here. The average closed price for all homes in July was $690,000. That went down $14,000 from the previous month. That's a 2% decrease. And then compared to last year, it is up 1%. We have talked about this in other videos, how once we got later in the summer, we might start seeing our year-over-year numbers look positive because we tanked after Mother's Day last year. So we are starting to look relatively good compared to last year now that we are past the Mother's Day kind of window. The single family home price average for July is $781,000. Also down $14,000 from the previous month, 2% decrease month over month, and a 0.6% increase year over year. The condo and townhome average is $483,000. It is up $5,000, not down. That's nearly a 1% change from the month before, and that's a 2.5% increase year over year as well. All right, switching over to those median home prices. Median sold price, all homes, $590,000. We are under $600,000 for median. This is down $7,000 from June. It's not quite even a 1% change. And year over year, it's also just shy of a 1% change there as well. The median single family home price is unchanged month over month and year over year. I double checked. it is at $650. And the median price for condos and townhomes is sitting at $420,000 right now. That is up $2,000 from the previous month. Year over year, it's a 4% change. It is well less than a full percent change month over month. I know it's not going to surprise you that list price to sales price ratio is decreasing, right? We're looking at extended days on market. We're seeing more inventory. So it means we shouldn't have so many competing offers, right? Yes. So we were at 99.1% for list price to sales price ratio in June. We are now at 98.5% in July. So time to talk takeaways. Now, as I said, I didn't do a market update the previous month, but when I went back and looked at the data, what I saw is the price decreases we saw this month were dollar for dollar the same increases that were in the previous month's data. So that means over a 3-month span of time, we really haven't seen a lot of price change in home prices. Now, what's going to be happening moving forward? We are going to see prices decrease. Why? Well, seasonality and the economics of things. We have rates in the 7s right now. Once we hit 7, it's almost as if the brakes are on for everyone, unless moving is not an option and rates are just not that big of a deal for a number of reasons. In the 6s, there's a little bit of fluidity. For some people, they'll still take it on. They see the bigger picture. A lot of times it's not first-time home buyers who are so confident to buy in the 6s, but folks who've been around the block a couple times. And then when we're in the 5s, it's going crazy. I mean, as soon as we get close to 5, we see the market shift because we have gotten there over this last, 18 months, 2 years, where we've dipped really close. So thanks to rates, prices are going to be declining. Now, it's not just that. Every year there is a cycle in the market. We are past the start of school. For almost every student, school started this week, last week. And that means that most folks who really wanted a home took care of that a couple of months ago. So we really see our market taper off all the way down to Christmas, even into January, and then that's when we pick back up. So there is a lot less inventory, a lot less buyer demand, and this really becomes the season of tightness and deals. Now, that can be a good thing. If you're still in the market, you're still open to trying things out, the rates come down at all, that really is a good time to jump in over the next several months because this is the season of motivated sellers and motivated buyers. Now, those are the blanket statements. Those are kind of the generalities, right? But buyers, I am seeing some really interesting things in the market, let me tell you. So sellers are kind of catching the lay of the land that buyers are coming in for a deal, but also that it's taking longer to sell a home. So we are seeing plenty of sellers willing to name a price and stick to it, which I'm not saying this is to their benefit, but this is something we're seeing. But then on top of that, in addition, they're putting comments in private notes or even public notes with their agent saying, hey, take the home as is, don't nickel and dime me. Can you believe that? That's a very bold phrase to say. It's kind of like in your face. No concessions after going under contract. They're kind of saying the offer you make is the offer I take. Don't come back at me. Don't ask me for anything else. Take it or leave it. Even if you have an inspection and find something major and you're willing to say, I'll still take the house for this, it's like you get one look. Like the first time you look at the house is all. So I'm seeing a lot of boldness in sellers, which I actually find a little surprising in this market. It tells me the seller is not terribly motivated. So if you're a motivated buyer, have your agent kind of look through some of the notes and give you a feel for possibly how motivated the seller is, so that you're not spinning your wheels on some of these properties. Now, sellers, with this interesting set of dynamics in the market, having an agent who is going to match your interests and your goals is incredibly important. If you want an agent who's going to play hardball, like I was just sharing to the buyers, you need to find someone who's willing to do that. A lot of agents are not. There are very specific reasons why an agent doesn't necessarily want to take on a property for 6 months or a year, or doesn't want to kind of play hardball in their notes and with their colleagues. So some agents will say no to a listing like that. You've got to really pick someone who's open to that kind of conversation. On the flip side, if you need to get somewhere quickly, you need your home sold in 60 days, 90 days, you need to be moved out and have your funds from your home in 90 days, you need to find an agent who understands very specific dynamics in this market. Your agent needs to be able to price for the wider area, for the competition. Think of the principle of substitution. Even appraisers use it. Someone is probably not looking only for your neighborhood, generally not. So they could move anywhere within a 2-mile, 5-mile, even 10-mile radius. How do you stack up condition-wise, price-wise? How does your school stack up? Who's really looking in your area and why? Who is the buyer? Who's the clientele? Who are you selling to? What do they want to know? Do they care about the story behind your house, the vibe? Are they looking for lifestyle? Is it a mountain lifestyle they're looking for? Is it convenience? There is so much to know about bringing in the right buyer, or even better, buyers, and getting multiple offers. Will your house need staging? Will it not? Is it all about price? So I had a colleague call me the other day to chat about a transaction. They're taking over an expired listing. And this listing had already been on the market for 40 days, then expired, then they picked it up, and they happened to bring up pricing that was not their main reason. We were having a conversation, and I was sharing that I hoped they were going to have success and get it under contract within 2 weeks, hopefully sooner than that. And we were in a season of the market where it was still very active. So I was hoping they would do really well for this client who'd already been through a failed, listing. And they said, well, I think I priced it right. I don't believe in dropping the price earlier than 30 days, especially in a slower market like this. Well, at that time, the market was not slow. Now, it has slowed now, but we were in a period where it was a little more frenzied. There was a lot of activity. People were trying to get in before the schools were, ready. They wanted to close, have an address, get their kids enrolled. There was just so much activity. But they did not price aggressively to get multiple offers, to really put their client's best foot forward. And I looked, and this home is still on the market. So their strategy was take this house that had expired already 40 days on the market, price it so it could sit for another 30 days before a price drop for a cumulative 70 days, and then we'll talk about what to do next. In my opinion, that is not the best way to have handled that. Maybe it made the seller happy, but my job, I think, is to get the seller what they need, not always make them happy. I love to make you happy along the way, but I want to get you the most money in the least amount of time, get you where you need to be as fast as possible, and hopefully with multiple offers. But this is where you need to talk strategy when you're interviewing agents, so you get what you want the way you want before you're in a contract with your agent and firing someone and starting over. All right, I am getting a lot of questions about what the market's going to look like going forward. We have currently rates over 7%. That is a number that really makes people pull back on the reins. Every lender I'm talking to, every agent I'm talking to, the only buyers we are seeing that are coming forward aggressively are cash buyers. So those who need a mortgage are really slowing down. They're reevaluating, reassessing, changing their price point, changing what they're looking for in a home, asking questions, considering renting. That is slowing down the buying process. So typically, most of my clients are buying a home within about 3 weeks. Just has to do with the way we talk through the process, really funnel down wants and needs. It's a very efficient buying process. It's not a rule I have. We're just very good and efficient at working through the way we hunt for homes. Right now, it's not 3 weeks. Part of it has to do with inventory, but a lot of it has to do with the budget component because interest rates are so high, and reevaluating and reassessing and understanding if there's any money left over to make an imperfect home better. There's a lot of imperfect homes on the market. So longer time to purchase. Yes, sellers, longer time to sell. We don't see interest rates dropping anytime in the very near future. In fact, they could stay around this 7-ish% range through the end of the year because the feds are not getting what they want in results. Employment rates are still good, and they are really driving to get those numbers a little less on the strong side. This is our slower season of the year. As we come into next year, we usually pick up around February. I expect we're still going to have a decent spring come February, March. This year was a crazy year with weather. Funny enough, we're kind of fair weather people. We like good weather. Let's see what next year brings and when our year will pick up. I do kind of have a gut feeling that we'll see rates that are below 7 by then. If we're back in the 6s, I think we'll have a strong spring. We had a very, very strong buying season this year. It was delayed, so it was very compressed, and that was due to weather. So we didn't come out of our snow and cold and rain until very late, so it kind of pushed that active bunch of sellers and putting their homes on the market to later. So it pushed everything into a really tight window, which brought the buyers out in a tight window and really drove a very intense set of weeks, maybe 8 or 9 weeks. If that happens to be the case next year, I think we'll see the same thing, as long as rates are below 7. The good news for shoppers for next year is home prices will be declining between now and the end of the year. That happens normally in a normal cycle. Along with these rates, I think that any motivated seller is going to have to account for that in their pricing. So it's not like I think we're going to see a drastic drop off, but we're going to see some. That means that even if we have a strong market next year, you're coming in with a softer baseline. So there is something good to be said for that. Do you have other questions, thoughts? You want to talk more about the market? You want to strategize a little bit about when you might want to dip your toe in the water? Please reach out. You know, I always love to connect and talk about what it looks like to move to, live in, buy a home in Denver. I will see y'all next week.